Hello, my name is Alex Montalbano, and I completed my capstone on integrating sleep education into high-level athletics and its impact on sleep in athletes. My project was implemented at Ohio State University Athletics with Paul Jones as my mentor. Now let's dive into the different components of this project. Looking at the literature review, sleep is a foundational occupation that promotes physical recovery, mental clarity, and overall well-being. Collegiate athletes are known to experience disrupted sleep due to training demands, academic responsibilities, and competition-related travel. Now, these challenges can hinder recovery, impair performance, and compromise both cognitive function and long-term health. Looking at the sleep education component, although the awareness of sleep's role in athletic success is growing, access to tailored, evidence-based sleep education remains limited. But, however, the literature that was reviewed, programs that are flexible, multi-session, and aligned with athletes' schedules have shown promise in improving sleep quality and habits. Looking at it in an occupational therapy lens, athletes are educated on the benefits and importance of sleep as an occupation in relation to well-being and performance in sport, which for them is another occupation. So tailoring strategies address environmental and behavioral barriers, demanding schedules, travel challenges, and sleep difficulties are all things that may hinder sustainable sleep habits. Looking at the methods from the 12 peer-reviewed articles that were included in this study, they examined sleep education interventions for collegiate and professional athletes. Inclusion criteria required objective sleep measures, mainly wrist actigraphy and/or subjective sleep measures, the Pittsburgh Sleep Quality Index, and Epworth Sleepiness Scale. And they kind of all came down to three main key outcomes that were observed throughout these 12 different studies. Sleep efficiency improved by 5 to 10%, but however diminished without follow-up and consistent accountability. Sleep latency reduced by about 5 to 10 minutes, promoting faster sleep onset in the athletes, and total sleep time increased by about 20 to 40 minutes across all studies. Looking at the actual Capstone project and the background, as well as the final algorithm of the program implemented, the sleep education program aimed to enhance athlete awareness of sleep hygiene and provide practical strategies support the sleep with performance and recovery in mind. This was a program the Division of Athletics was ready to implement, but was not yet providing. This program, looking at this diagram, originally included just a group, or in the final algorithm, included a group education component. This was provided to teams in a general format, and it had emphasis on athletic relevance and its implication regarding recovery and performance. So this general information was supplemented by an assessment. The assessments were the two previously mentioned PSQI and ESS and were completed via Microsoft Forms to assess their current sleep practices and enhance individual sleep awareness. This was recorded and is available as a recording to staff and athletes as the capstone experience is coming to an end. The individual education component was offered to each athlete at the end of the team education session. It is optional, but recommended, especially for athletes who scored low on the PSQI and ESS. However, it's not limited to that, as personal athlete requests were also very much accepted. And the benefit of this is that the personalized sleep feedback and consultative nature allows this to be tailored to the needs of the athlete. Schedules can be created and allows for consistent repetitive feedback to a dynamic lifestyle that many of these athletes would benefit from. And it can be also completed on an as-needed basis and really allow the athlete to work through different aspects that may work for one athlete but not the next. Looking at the outcome and results, 24 teams were contacted. Only three teams ended up participating: women's ice hockey, men's golf, and women's lacrosse. However, one individual consultation was completed. Of these 3 teams, 12 athletes completed the post-team education feedback. Of all the respondents, they all indicated that they learned something new from this education session, and 75% of them indicated that they are very confident in applying a strategy they learned during the session. However, only 25% were confident. 100% rated the session as excellent or good, and 100% were satisfied with the visual aids. As indicated, one athlete expressed interest in follow-up consultation, whereas four indicated maybe that they would be interested in following up. This is one of the infographics created for the actual sleep education program that was presented to the athletes. This one specifically focuses in on sleep loss and performance, how sleep loss impacts performance as an athlete. It notes that embracing a sleep advantage is important because not getting the recommended 7 to 8 hours can essentially lose out on some of the benefits that sleep has, and it's not getting enough sleep can minimize the hard work and training efforts of the athlete. So it focuses on actual numbers and data within literature that found discrepancies in and deficiencies in performance when sleep loss was present. Another infographic focused on napping and how this can be utilized as a tool rather than a replacement for poor sleep. And it also focuses on an ideal nap window from 1 to 4 p.m. Another key infographic created was the Own Your Sleep infographic that prioritizes and lays out different sleep hygiene practice tips. These can be implemented and help mitigate effects of poor sleep and improve different sleep aspects. So looking at the actual program after implementation, there was limited coach engagement. As mentioned, 24 teams were contacted, but only 3 participated. So this was a large barrier in the implementation, a wider implementation of this program. Despite low engagement, though, the program increased awareness of sleep's impact on performance and provided actionable insights for improvement. And providing this recorded version of the education is beneficial for future implementation and accessibility because it can continue to be implemented in a way that is dynamic and fits the needs of the athlete. Looking forward towards the future iterations of this program, it should focus on strengthening coach involvement, integrating sleep education into training programs, and utilizing this recorded education session to enhance the athlete participation. As noted on the previous slide, originally, Oura rings were supposed to be used as the data collection for the sleep assessment. However, logistically, this wasn't very accessible as not all athletes had access to Oura rings. So it was pivoted and the PSQI and ESS were used so this program is accessible to all athletes. This presentation and program is set to be adopted as the official sleep education resource for Ohio State University athletics. Looking at some additional experiences throughout this capstone experience, the student attended a NASA briefing regarding sleep and the Mars mission and how the time on a different planet actually can be mitigated through sleep hygiene practices. The student also completed an individual sleep consultation with the COO of Ohio State University Athletics, trained on sports science equipment and analytics, trialed and implemented state-of-the-art recovery equipment, observed the interdisciplinary nature of the athletics care team and the roles different stakeholders possess, and provided education on sleep to staff at large for broader implementation of this program. To see the references used in this entire capstone paper and project, please scan this QR code.